Hello and welcome to episode 2 of this health sub-series part of Callum Smiles Media with me, Callum Smiles. So this is the little show where I try and put the fear of God into you by showing you all the toxins you're exposing yourself to, but not leave you high and dry, and by offering you another option, a better way. So the main and the first part of the show is I scare you into what you do about what you're doing, and then I finish it off with the thing that you could do better. But as long as you start to do your own research, make your own informed decisions, well, I'm happy, because that means my job here is done. So today we're going to be talking about deodorants and antiperspirants. Now, they are full of loads of toxic chemicals, a bit like the previous episode where we looked at sun cream, where it's got all these big words we can't even pronounce, let alone know what the hell they are. So, like in the previous one, I'm just going to go over some of the ingredients. So in all of these, you'll find an aluminium salt compound of some kind. So the aluminium salt reacts to the sweat, causing a temporary clogging and blocks the sweat gland. Antiperspirant, antiperspiring, to stop sweating. So that's what it does, which is unhealthy in its own right, because we use sweat to actually excrete toxins from the body. It's one of the ways we get rid of things. You'll often actually find that sometimes your sweat will actually smell like one of the recent things you've eaten. An interesting one is curry. People often actually smell of curry if they've been eating curry, because some of the things from that curry are actually coming out of your body through sweat. And you'll often actually find that you don't need deodorant if you have a very clean diet. Now, in the first lockdown, at the start of it, I was, quite frankly, a bit of a fat bastard. I dropped over 10 kilos because I worked at a gym at the time. I know, convenient. I put on loads of weight whilst working at a gym. Anyway, lockdown I saw as a perfect opportunity for me to actually to reclaim my health and actually take back more control of my own body. And by doing so, I dropped a load of weight. You can see here just how much of a fat bastard I was and how much weight I lost. Over 10 kilos in that first lockdown. And that all came from really cleaning up my diet and exercise. But one of the most important things is diet. I was recently in Naples, and I ate and drank like a king and managed to lose 1.5 kilos. And by God did I eat. But out there, they use proper ingredients. Whereas if you look at some of the food here, you'll see that we don't use proper ingredients, or rather it's much harder to come by. And later down the line in more of these episodes, I will be looking at food. So if you actually have a clean diet, back to my main point, you don't smell. Actually, you find some people say that you smell nice. And I noticed during all the exercise I was doing that it would be the height of summer. Remember that 3 weeks to flatten the curve, and we had the most perfect weather for 3 weeks. Interesting, huh? Let's not go into the global boiling just now. We can talk about that on another episode at some point. But my point is, the clean diet, I didn't stink. So coming back to the ingredients, you'll often find parabens, which is an endocrine disruptor. Parabens, they can mimic estrogen, and if the body can't process enough all its estrogen in women, this can lead to breast cancer, and in men, prostate cancer. So you want to avoid parabens. You'll actually often find these days with deodorants, it will say paraben free, which just goes to show that people have started to kick up a stink, no pun intended, about the case of parabens in these products. But you'll often find them in things like detergents and fabric softeners. I do highly recommend you just type in list of parabens to avoid, and you'll come up with loads. And you might even recognize some of these words because you might have seen them before on ingredient lists, but you didn't know what that was because it's such a weird word. It's almost like these things are meant to be difficult, so we pay very little attention and poison ourselves. So yes, you want to avoid parabens, but if we actually look at some of the ingredients in today's choice of item, Sure, non-stop 72-hour protection. So one of these ingredients is butane. Now you might think, I recognise that word, I've seen it somewhere, but I can't quite think where. Well, you've probably seen it in petrol stations because it is an LPG, a liquid petroleum gasoline. So it's flammable. So first and foremost, we are spraying flammable, sometimes people even do that, flammable liquid toxins on our person. Now, deodorants are often being referred to as a shower in a can. Men, you'll probably know this more than women. Actually, no, wait, I see women do this a lot as well, but actually they would do it more, especially at school, to just carry on smelling nice. Parfum and fragrance is another rabbit hole which we can go into at some point, but I'll just tell you now, there are well over 1,000 toxic substances that don't legally have to be disclosed because they can come under the name fragrance or perfume. So, back to the deodorant. You often see at school, or even grown men now, they'll, they might be at work and have a bit of a workout and, quick just to freshen up, they'll spray it on themselves. You're spraying yourself in flammable liquid. And also, it goes without saying, that's bad for the lungs. Let's talk about the aluminium sesquichlorohydrate. Might have said that completely wrong, but, I've written it down here. Or here. So this aluminium compound is what actually is. This aluminium salt compound is actually what causes the antiperspiring compound in this item, this product. Let's go on to now the C12-15 alkyl benzoate. You might remember this from the previous one on sun cream. The thing that when it comes into contact with vitamin C, it becomes benzene, which is a well-known carcinogen. So there's a bit of a common, I know it's only the second episode, but there's a common theme here. A lot of these things are very carcinogenic. Another thing you might remember from the previous episode as well, if you actually look into some of these ingredients yourself, is we keep coming into contact with all these forms of alcohol, such as propylene glycol. That's often in lots of these. It's not in this one. It's actually propylene carbonate, I think it is in this one. We'll get onto that in a second. But things like propylene glycol, it's an alcohol derivative. But there's lots of other chemicals in this that come from alcohols, or rather they are alcohols. Now, we are told that alcohol is a toxin, yet for 365 days a year and 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, we are coming into contact with all these forms of alcohol, whether it's sun cream in the summer where we're rubbing it all on our body, whether it's this deodorant that lots of people are using throughout the day. The skin is highly absorbent. A lot of things are absorbed through the skin. A bit like with iodine. A good way to see if you are iodine deficient, get some iodine and just get it on the inside of your arm. Leave it 4 or 5 hours. If it's been absorbed, it means you're very deficient in iodine. And lots of people these days are deficient in iodine. And our body needs iodine and selenium to create thyroxine for the thyroid to work properly. If the thyroid doesn't work properly, you will see women go into menopause at a younger age they should be. In the Far East, where they eat lots of seaweed, which is very high in iodine, they don't go into menopause anywhere as early as we do here in the West. And when I say we, I don't mean in the modern we of anyone can go through menopause. No, just women. And I mean real women. But anyway, so let's go on to BHT. This is the most interesting. Oh wait, propylene carbonate. So again, this is a petroleum based substance. So we are putting. Let's go back to the butane. We're putting a form of petrol that's going to be absorbed into us. Women, if you look into, or goths, if you look into lots of mascaras are often oil or petrol based products, and in tests gone by, there have been, because the skin around the eyes is even more absorbent than most other parts of your skin, that this petrol has been, this form of petrol has been found, or rather just oil, has been found in women's urine up to 3 days after applying it. Now, let's just say you're pregnant, that's going to be absorbed into the child. It's bad enough it's being absorbed into you, but you have a much more vulnerable being inside of you. Anyway, so let's go on to the most interesting one I found in this. BHT, butylated hydroxytolene. I think I've said it right, but again, these are such weird words that aren't like normal English. It's almost like these words are meant to be difficult, so people just pay no attention to them. Anyway, there's a study by Gann in 1984 which involved male rats, and with BHT, the male rats got different types of cancer. Now, Olson did another similar test in 1986, where once again the same results were found. Cancer happened in the rats. Now, Thompson in 1988 wanted to see the difference between BHT and BHA, butylated hydroxyanisole. Now, both of these things are antioxidants, however, they are toxic. And in this study by Thompson in 1988, we saw that BHT is more toxic than BHA. However, BHT is the toxin of choice in this product. So that's just some of the ingredients out the way, some of the scaremongering on my part, some of the things to try and put the fear of God into you to make you stop smelling like, don't you think these things smell nice anymore? The more you actually detox from these things, the more you'll actually find your nose is more sensitive to these things and you don't like them. What I find, and some of the people I know that have kind of gone on a similar path to myself, they find also these things actually are offensive to the nostrils. But let's go on to the better part, the good part, the bit that fills us all with a bit of hope that we can actually make better choices and better swaps. Now, this company doesn't even give me a penny. They don't even give me free products. I mean, if they want to, that'd be fantastic. I'm always looking for sponsors, and I'd only ever use sponsors that I trust and actually use myself. Now, that is Cargreens. Now, Cargreens is phenomenal. They don't put crap in there. It's all natural ingredients. And one of the things they do is they'll add sodium bicarbonate, which eats at bacteria. So when you sweat, it's not the moisture that smells awful. It's actually the bacteria that then grows in that sweat. Because it's perfect, moist, warm grounds is just perfect for breeding bacteria. But sodium bicarbonate is antibacterial. So they will add sodium bicarbonate into the ingredients, which are like non-clogging and basically just non-toxic. So even, you can sweat your tits off and you've got a good amount of this on and you don't actually need that much. You can actually still smell nice at the end of the day. I've put this to the test myself. I've gone and done over 30,000 steps on a hot summer's day in London before, and at the end of the day, don't get me wrong, I was sweating. It was a warm day. London is always warmer than most places anyway in England. I still smell of lemon and geranium. I know. Lovely fragrance. It genuinely is a lovely fragrance. That's the one I'd recommend if you're going to get them. That's Cargreens, CARRGREENS.com. Now, what they do is, it is absolutely fantastic. They do some great natural ingredient soaps, again, really nice. I love the grapefruit one, and the charcoal and lime, that's a good one. But you can even try and make your own stuff at home. I know some people that just use coconut oil, but if you want to have something that kind of smells a bit nice but will also eat at bacteria, especially if you're kind of clearing up your diet, which means you can't just say, clean diet from now and the smell goes. You've got to detox all this crap out of you. I recommend saunas as well, regular saunas. You will find that you then just often when you sweat, you just won't smell anywhere near as much because you're just often kicking crap out your system through sweat. If you want to try your own, you can add sodium bicarbonate to coconut oil and apply that. If you do give it a go, if it works, please do let me know. I would love to hear the choices you guys make, because you may even actually have come across an option that's just as good as Cargreens or even better. But if so, please do get in touch. Please like only if you like it. If you don't like it, don't like this. But if you do, please like it, share it, subscribe it, and if you do value this sort of stuff, you can always donate at my Buy Me a Coffee, so I can continue to put in the time to do the research to bring you the unbiased research information and evidence that I come across and give it to you, because that's what journalism should be: unbiased and all about just finding facts. See you next time.